I never thought I'd be that guy. The one who gets cheated on, humiliated, blindsided by the person he trusts the most. The guy who walks around thinking his life is rock solid, while in reality, it's hanging by a thread. But here I am. My name's Eric, I'm 38, and this is the story of how I found out my wife had a second family, just 30 minutes from our front door. It started like most stories don't, quietly. No dramatic shouting, no lipstick on a collar, no shady hotel charges. Just silence. The kind of silence that settles between two people who used to be in sync. And I didn't even notice it right away. Claire and I met in college. She was majoring in psychology, always had a book under her arm, hair tied up, and this calmness about her like nothing could shake her. I was the over-caffeinated engineering major who thought skipping sleep made you smarter. She balanced me out. She made me feel grounded. Real. We dated for 3 years before I proposed. Got married in a courthouse with just our parents and a pizza delivery afterward because we were broke and happy. Then came the house, the job, the son, Ethan. Our little guy. He's 9 now. Loves dinosaurs and peanut butter sandwiches. And you know what? We were good. At least I thought we were. Sure, life got busy. Work, mortgage, PTA meetings, dirty dishes piling up faster than we could clean them. But that's marriage, right? It's not all sparks and sex and weekend getaways. Sometimes it's just survival. Sometimes it's keeping the wheels turning and hoping one day you'll get a moment to breathe together. Lately, though, she'd been breathing somewhere else. It started with overtime. Claire works for a nonprofit that helps women in abusive situations. Heavy stuff. She's always been passionate about it, working late nights, weekends, answering calls at dinner. At first, I admired her commitment. But then the meetings started feeling off. She started dressing up more, heels, makeup, perfume. For late-night paperwork, she became guarded, protective of her phone. She used to hand it to me without a second thought when she needed directions or wanted me to text her mom. Now it was always face down, always on silent. And her smile started to change. Not gone, just thinner, less warm, mechanical. I remember one Friday night, Ethan asked, "Why does mommy always leave when it gets dark?" And I laughed. I actually laughed and said, "She's saving the world, buddy." I didn't know she was blowing up ours. The day everything cracked wide open was a Wednesday. Rainy, uneventful, nothing special. Claire was rushing out to a board meeting, and in her rush, she left her personal phone on the charger. Now, let me be clear, I wasn't snooping. I didn't plan this. I didn't sit there like some jealous man waiting to find something. The phone buzzed. Once, then again, then 5 times in 2 minutes. It lit up with the name L. I ignored it. I really did. But when the 6th message popped up, "Don't forget the snacks. Liam wants the gummy bears." Red heart, I froze. Liam? We don't know a Liam. No nephews, no co-workers' kids. Nothing. I picked up the phone. My hands were sweating. I opened the thread. And that's when I stopped breathing. Hundreds, literally hundreds, of messages. Photos, videos, voice notes, jokes, memes. A whole goddamn relationship unfolding on this tiny screen. Claire in pajamas I'd never seen. Claire holding a small boy in her lap, maybe 3 years old. Claire smiling in a way I hadn't seen in years. Our little family night was perfect. He looks more and more like you every day. Can't wait to curl up with you again. Missed your arms. My stomach dropped. I felt like someone poured acid into my chest. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone. But all I could do was scroll, read, scroll again. The timestamps told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't new. This had been going on for years. Years. And the worst part? The boy. Liam. He looked like her. Same eyes. Same chin. Same smile when he wasn't looking at the camera. I was staring into a mirror of the life I thought we had, copied and pasted into someone else's world. I sat there in our kitchen, with our son's drawings on the fridge, with our family photos on the wall, and realized I didn't know who the hell I married. I should have confronted her that night. I should have walked up to her the second she came through the door, shoved the phone in her face, and demanded answers. That's what people think they'd do. That's what I thought I'd do. But when the moment came, I froze. She walked in like nothing had happened. Hair a little messy from the wind, cheeks slightly flushed, phone in hand. She gave me a tired smile, kissed my cheek, and said, "God, that meeting went on forever. I'm starving." She smelled different. Not bad, just not her usual scent. It was faint, but I know my wife. It was men's cologne. Someone else's. And I said nothing. I nodded. I asked if she wanted me to order food. I went through the motions like a coward, terrified that if I opened my mouth, I'd never stop screaming. That night, lying in bed next to her, I stared at the ceiling while she slept peacefully. Her breathing was soft, steady, like she had no clue I knew. Or maybe she just didn't care anymore. That was the moment something snapped in me. The next morning, I dropped Ethan off at school like usual. Then I parked around the corner and waited. Claire was supposed to have volunteer work that day. She left the house around 9:40 a.m. I waited a full 5 minutes, then followed. She didn't go toward the women's shelter like she told me. Instead, she headed west, into a neighborhood I'd never had a reason to visit. Quiet, well-kept streets, tree-lined sidewalks, little kids riding scooters on the pavement. Normal. Too normal. She pulled up to a beige 2-story house with a red mailbox and a blue bike lying on the lawn. And then I saw it. A little boy, no older than 4, ran out the front door and launched himself into her arms like he'd been waiting all morning just to see her. My heart stopped. Time froze. I couldn't hear anything except blood pounding in my ears. She scooped him up, kissed him on the cheek, and spun him around while he laughed. That kind of laugh only a child gives when he's with someone he trusts completely. Someone he loves. Then a man stepped outside. He was tall, maybe a few years older than me. T-shirt, jeans, coffee mug in hand. Casual. Comfortable. Familiar with her. She walked right up to him, kissed his cheek, then his lips. Not a friend. Not a client. Not someone from work. That kiss was a claim. They all went inside together, like it was just another Saturday. Like this was their routine. Like this wasn't my F***ing wife. I sat there for 15 more minutes before driving away. I was shaking. My hands, my legs, even my jaw was twitching from rage and disbelief. I parked in some random grocery store lot and just stared at the steering wheel. What the hell was I looking at? What did this mean? Was she married to him too? Was that kid her son? Was he ours? The thought twisted in my gut like a knife. I thought back to the year she told me she miscarried. She was devastated, or so I thought. Could that have been a lie? Could she have carried the baby to term and given him to another man? I went home, grabbed a box from the garage, and started pulling out old photo albums, cards, notes, receipts, anything. I was looking for patterns, timelines, dates, anything I missed. And suddenly, everything started to look different. The work trips she took for the nonprofit were always near that area. The weekend conferences? The same city. The photos she didn't want me to post. The vacations she said she needed solo for self-care. The night she came home smelling like a hotel hallway. My life wasn't just falling apart. It had already fallen apart. I just didn't know it. I started digging deeper. She always kept a locked drawer in her home office, said it was confidential paperwork from clients. She'd never let me near it. That day, I picked the lock. Inside was a second phone. Different model. Different case. Clean. No fingerprint lock. I turned it on. My hands were shaking so badly, I nearly dropped it. Dozens of texts from that man. His name was Drew. Liam's fever went down. I gave him the meds you left. Can you pick up the cupcakes for daycare tomorrow? I love you. I don't care what anyone says. This feels right. Photos. Videos. Her holding the child. Laughing. Playing. Reading bedtime stories. I sat on the floor, knees pulled to my chest, holding that phone like it was made of acid. This wasn't an affair. This wasn't a mistake. It was a life. A second, full-blown, parallel life with another man and another child. All while raising Ethan with me. All while kissing me goodnight. All while telling me she was tired from work. I don't know how long I sat there, staring into that black mirror, absorbing the truth piece by piece. Hours maybe. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even feel anything yet. Just numb. That night, she came home with takeout and a smile. She set the table. Asked about Ethan's science project. Kissed my forehead and said, "Thanks for holding everything down. I'm lucky to have you." And I looked at her like a stranger. Because she wasn't my wife anymore. She was two people. And the one I married? She was living 30 minutes away, with someone else. After that night, I stopped pretending. I still acted like I didn't know. I still smiled when she asked how my day went. I still packed Ethan's lunch and dropped him off at school. But I wasn't me anymore. Something inside me had changed. Broken. Shattered in a quiet, almost elegant way. I wasn't a husband anymore. I was a spy in my own marriage. The next week felt like a fever dream. Claire continued to live her double life, leaving at strange hours, answering calls in hushed tones, laughing at texts she thought I couldn't see. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I needed to know, fully, completely, with no doubt left in my mind. I went back to that neighborhood. I parked down the street from the house and waited. I had sunglasses on, hoodie up, baseball cap pulled low. I looked like a creep, probably, but I didn't care. I needed answers. At exactly 4:17 p.m., the front door opened. She came out, my wife, Claire, holding the hand of that little boy, Liam. They walked to the end of the driveway where the man, Drew, was waiting. She kissed Liam's forehead, said something I couldn't hear, and got into her car. She drove off, and they stayed behind. Her family. Her second goddamn family. I waited until they were inside, and I walked up to the mailbox. I didn't know what I was expecting, maybe mail with her name on it? Maybe something proving she lived there part-time? But instead, I saw a sticker on the box. A last name. Watson. Drew Watson. No Claire. No hyphenated name. Nothing. Which meant one of two things. Either she was playing house without leaving a trail, or she'd changed her name. And the thought of her going that far, of having a second identity, made me nauseous. I went back to my car, drove home like a zombie, and spent the night going through our documents. I needed a timeline. I needed to see it. That's when I noticed it. Something I should have seen months ago. On our joint credit card, there were regular charges every 2 weeks from a lab. Nothing huge, just $70, $80. I'd always assumed it was health-related, or her therapy sessions, or work expenses. But this wasn't a clinic. It was a private DNA testing company. DNA. And I knew. I knew what that meant. She was tracking paternity, either to hide something, or to be sure of something. And that lit a fire in me. Because for the first time in this nightmare, I had to ask the question I'd been avoiding like the plague. What if Ethan isn't even mine? My hands trembled as I logged into the clinic's portal. I knew her passwords, of course I did. We shared everything. Or so I thought. There were 3 reports. 2 were unreadable without access codes. But one, just one, was open. A test from 3 years ago. Ethan's name was on it. So was mine. Result: 99.997% match. I let out a sound I can't even describe. Half sob, half laugh. A scream wrapped in relief. He was mine. My son. No matter what else she destroyed, she hadn't taken him from me. But Liam? There were no reports for him. Which meant either Drew had never asked or Claire had hidden it from him. That night, I sat in my car for over an hour outside the other house, trying to decide what kind of man I wanted to be. Should I knock on the door? Tell Drew everything? Explode her world the way she'd exploded mine? I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I found Drew on Facebook. He had a private profile, but there were some public photos. Him and Liam. Him and Claire. A caption under one picture. My world. My everything. He didn't know. He was just like me, a man living a lie, carefully curated and maintained by the same woman. I couldn't stop shaking. My teeth were chattering, and it wasn't from the cold. It was rage. A slow, boiling rage that had nowhere to go. So I started documenting everything. Screenshots of texts. Photos of the house. Videos from my phone. Copies of credit card charges. The second phone's data backed up to my computer. I wasn't going to confront her blindly. I was going to bury her with evidence when the time came. But I still needed one more piece. I needed to know if Liam was hers. So I did something insane. I followed Claire again. Waited until she left the house. Then I parked around the block and watched Drew and Liam playing in the yard. At one point, Drew went inside to answer a call, and Liam was left playing with sidewalk chalk. I approached him slowly, knees trembling, hands sweating. Hey there, I said gently. That's a cool dinosaur. What's his name? He smiled. T-Rex. He had Claire's eyes. No doubt. Where's your mommy? I asked. He pointed at the house. She went to get ice cream. No hesitation. No confusion. Not a mommy. His mommy. Claire wasn't just helping them. She wasn't just cheating. She was his mother. Which meant one thing. She'd had a child with another man, raised him in secret, and built a second home, all while sleeping next to me for the last 4 years. When I got back in the car, I didn't feel like a man anymore. I felt like a ghost. Everything I thought I was, husband, father, provider, was now hollow. Fake. Like a role I'd been cast in without reading the script. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I sat on our back porch, staring into the darkness, whispering a single question over and over again. Who the hell did I marry? It started with a message. Simple. Direct. Sent from a new email I'd created under a fake name. If you care about the truth, meet me at Garden View Cafe. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Sit near the back window. Come alone. No threats. No clues. Just an invitation. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. He'd feel it in his gut, just like I had. I waited outside the cafe in my car, heart pounding, hands icy despite the spring sun. At 2:56 p.m., he arrived. Drew, the man my wife had been sharing a bed with, raising a child with, living a lie beside. He looked normal. Too normal. Hoodie, jeans, tired eyes. He ordered a coffee, took a seat by the window like I'd asked, and waited. For 2 minutes. 5. 10. Then I walked in. He looked up. His eyes narrowed. There was no recognition, but there was tension. I sat down across from him and pulled out my phone. You don't know me, I said quietly. But we've been sleeping with the same woman. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared. Her name's Claire, I continued. She's my wife. And she's been living a second life with you. For almost 5 years. He let out a single, sharp laugh. No. Her name's Clara. Clara Watson. We're engaged. I froze. Engaged? She was married before, he added. She said the guy was controlling. That he didn't let her see her son. Said she had to start over. I stared at him. That son? Ethan? That's our son. My son. And she lives with us. Full time. She's still my wife. His face went pale. He blinked. Once. Twice. Then he leaned back and whispered, What the hell are you talking about? So I showed him. The messages. The photos. The DNA test. The second phone. A shot of Claire kissing him on the porch, and one of her kissing me in our kitchen. Same week. Different men. Same woman. Drew didn't speak for nearly 2 full minutes. He just stared at the table, his hands shaking slightly. Then he whispered, Liam. Liam is her son. I nodded. And she told me you were abusive. I laughed bitterly. Of course she did. She needed a reason for the secrecy. Something just believable enough to keep your questions quiet. Drew rubbed his face. He looked 10 years older in the span of a minute. She said she couldn't go public because of custody. She made me promise not to post pictures of her online. Said her ex was watching. She wasn't wrong, I said coldly. I was watching, just not the way she meant. We sat in silence. 2 strangers. Same betrayal. And for the first time, I realized I didn't hate him. How could I? He was just another victim of the same woman. A parallel version of me. Same dreams, same illusions, same fall. I want to expose her, I said finally. Not just to you. Not just to our families. I want the truth out. Publicly. So she can't keep doing this. He nodded. You're not the first, are you? I frowned. What? She slipped once, he said slowly. Mentioned a man named Brandon. I thought it was an old friend. Maybe he wasn't. We stared at each other. The woman we thought we loved, she wasn't just a liar. She was a serial one. A life builder. A shapeshifter. God knows how many homes she had. How many men she loved. How many children she tucked in at night. I need to know the truth, Drew said. I need a DNA test. For Liam. I nodded. I can help with that. And just like that, we became allies. 2 strangers bound by betrayal, sitting in a quiet cafe, plotting justice. The next few days moved fast. Drew got Liam's hair sample, quietly, carefully. I paid for the test under my name. We agreed to wait for the results before doing anything final. In the meantime, I started building the story. I wrote every detail, every lie, every timeline, every photo and text. I compiled it into a document. Not for the courts. Not for the police. For everyone else. I created a private link with a backup folder on a flash drive. I didn't want revenge. Not really. What I wanted was truth. Cold, inescapable, and undeniable. On Friday, the DNA results came in. Liam wasn't Drew's son. He wasn't anyone's son, legally. Claire had used a false name at the hospital. Liam's birth certificate had no father listed. It was clean. Erased. Manufactured. Drew stared at the results like they were a death certificate. And in a way, they were. She chose me, he said quietly. Not for love. For convenience. For backup. That's when we made the decision. We were going to confront her. Together. Claire came home late that Sunday. She was in good spirits. Hair curled. Light perfume. A smile on her face. Ethan had gone to bed early after a sleepover, and the house was quiet. I was in the kitchen. Drew was waiting outside, out of sight. Hey, she said, kissing my cheek. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was. Sit down, I said. She paused, blinked, then laughed. Eric, what's going on? I didn't answer. I just reached into the drawer and pulled out the second phone. Her face changed instantly. That was all the proof I needed. She opened her mouth, probably to lie, to deflect, to spin another thread into her tapestry of fiction. But the doorbell rang. She frowned. Who? I walked to the door, opened it, let Drew in. Claire turned pale. She didn't speak. Neither did we. I handed her a folder. Inside, every screenshot, every document, every test result. Then I said 6 words. We know everything. It's over now. She didn't cry. Not at first. She sat there at the kitchen table, her fingers twitching on her lap, eyes locked on the folder in front of her like it might burst into flames. Drew stood near the door, arms crossed, silent. I stood by the counter, cold, distant, done. She didn't say, it's not what it looks like. She didn't ask, where did you get this? She didn't deny it. She just said one word, almost a whisper, *T. I don't know what I expected. Tears? Screaming? Some last-ditch emotional Hail Mary? What I got was worse. She shut down. She folded in on herself like a dying star. Say something, Drew finally said. Claire looked up at him. Her face was pale, drained of life. I was going to end it. He laughed short, sharp, empty. In which one? No answer. You were going to end me, I said, or him. Or were you just planning to start a third life somewhere new? Still nothing. Liam's not mine, Drew said, quieter now. You knew that. You lied to me about everything. Your name. Your past. Our engagement. She flinched. Her mouth opened, but I cut her off. You lied to our son, I said. Every time you kissed him goodnight, knowing what you were doing. Every time you told him you loved him. You were carrying another man's child while telling me we were healing. We were broken, Claire. And you kept breaking us. Now she cried. Not sobbing. Just tears running silently down her cheeks, like her body was bleeding guilt through her eyes. I didn't mean to, she started. Don't, I snapped. Don't you dare say that. You meant to. Every choice. Every lie. Every night you left this house, you chose this. Drew stepped closer. You used me. You used Liam. You built a life with us and sold it like a story you were tired of telling. That's when she finally spoke like herself again, quiet, but sharp. You don't understand. Neither of you do. Oh, please, I scoffed. Enlighten us. She stood up. You were both perfect, she said. Too perfect. Eric, you were stable, kind, safe, boring. And Drew, you were warm, spontaneous, passionate, but needy. I kept trying to find the right version of myself in both of you, and somewhere along the way, I stopped knowing who I really was. You stopped knowing who you were? I repeated. You had 2 families. You were lying to a child. I loved them both, she shouted suddenly. Is that so hard to believe? I didn't fake it. None of it. I just couldn't choose. So I didn't. That was it. The final nail. She wasn't sorry she lied. She was sorry she got caught. The following week was a blur of consequences. Claire left the house the next day. Packed a single suitcase, no dramatic goodbyes. I let her go without a word. Drew blocked her. Changed locks. Filed to contest paternity rights. I spoke to a divorce attorney. Gave him the folder. Gave him everything. I wasn't looking for vengeance. I was looking for freedom. But the world wasn't done reacting. My sister found out. She was furious, not just at Claire, but at me for keeping it secret for so long. Ethan's godfather called in shock. Is this real? Claire? Are you sure? Her parents went dark. Not a word. Not a call. Silence. But the biggest fallout was yet to come. I made the post on a private Facebook group, the kind of place local families gather to trade babysitters and sell strollers. The post was careful, respectful, but true. If you know Claire J., a.k.a. Clara Watson, I urge you to read this. She led 2 separate lives for nearly 5 years, had a child under false identity, and caused immeasurable damage to both families. This is not gossip. This is documented, verified, and painful. Please protect yourselves. I attached the link. No hate. No slander. Just facts. It went viral in 2 hours. By the next day, the post had been screenshotted, reshared, and reposted across multiple parenting forums. A local podcast even messaged me asking for an interview. I declined. This wasn't entertainment. This was my life. Claire tried calling. Once. Twice. Then again. I never picked up. The last message she sent was short. "You've ruined me." I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. You don't get to call it ruin when you set the fire yourself. The hardest part wasn't the lawyers, or the split finances, or the articles that popped up days later with headlines like "Double Life Mom Exposed." The hardest part was Ethan. He knew something had happened. Kids always know. But he didn't ask. He just got quiet. Started sleeping with the lights on. Drew pictures of our family, except his mom was missing. I didn't lie to him. But I didn't tell him everything either. I said Mommy made mistakes, and she needed time away. I said I would always be here. I said I'd never leave. And I meant it. The divorce went through 2 months later. No contest. No long court battle. Claire didn't fight. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe the weight of exposure crushed her too deep to rise up again. All I got was a single envelope in the mail with her signature and a typed note. "I'm sorry for all the versions of me that hurt you." That was it. No real apology. No ownership. Just words on a page that felt more like closure for her than for me. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. The house was quieter than I expected after she left. Not empty, just still. Like it had exhaled. No more late-night phone calls. No more disappearing for volunteering trips. No more fake smiles across the dinner table. Just me and Ethan. And, for the first time in years, honesty. He asked about her a few weeks later. We were sitting on the porch, eating pizza from a greasy box, just the two of us. The sunset was orange and heavy, and he was drawing with chalk on the steps. "Is she ever coming back?" he asked without looking up. I didn't lie. "I don't think so, buddy." He nodded slowly. Okay. That was it. No tears. No drama. Just a quiet acceptance that made my chest ache more than any shouting ever could. I didn't tell him about Liam. I didn't think he needed that weight. Not yet. Maybe when he's older. When he asks the hard questions. When he wants the full picture. But for now, I let him live in this version of the world where his mom made a mistake and his dad chose to stay. And I did stay. Not in the marriage. But in the fight. In the healing. In the hard parts. Therapy helped. Slowly. My session started with rage, spiraled into grief, then landed in something like understanding. Not forgiveness. Not even acceptance. But comprehension. Claire wasn't a monster. She was a coward. A selfish, complicated, fractured woman who couldn't face her own reflection, so she made 1,000 others. And we were the ones left picking up the pieces. I fixed the house. Literally. Repainted the walls. Replaced the curtains. Rearranged the furniture. Every nail I hammered. Every screw I turned. Every stroke of the roller, it felt like reclaiming my space. Like ripping her shadows out of the corners. Ethan helped. He picked a new color for his room, green, like a dinosaur jungle. We built shelves for his toys. Started Saturday morning breakfast again. Waffles. Bacon. Cartoons. Little things. But they mattered. About 6 months later, I met someone. I wasn't looking. Wasn't trying. She was a friend of my sister's, recently divorced, had a daughter a year older than Ethan. We met at a park during a picnic, sat next to each other while the kids chased bubbles, and ended up talking for 2 hours straight. Her name's Claire too. Ironic, right? But not the same. Not even close. Her smile was warm. Her laugh was real. She didn't flinch at my story, didn't judge me for the past I carried like luggage. She listened. Really listened. And when I finally told her everything, she said only one thing. "You didn't deserve that. And neither did your son." I didn't know how much I needed to hear that until she said it. We took it slow. Real slow. No introductions for the kids. No sleepovers. Just walks, coffee, late-night phone calls, cautious hands reaching across trauma. She never asked me to be someone new. She just let me be me, bruises, baggage, and all. And eventually, I smiled again. Not the fake smile. The real one. The one that comes from deep in your ribs and pushes out through your chest like sunshine. Last weekend, I took Ethan camping. Just the two of us. A little tent, a cheap gas stove, marshmallows over a fire that kept dying. He caught a frog. I caught a sunburn. We fell asleep under a sky full of stars, and sometime around 1 a.m., he mumbled, "This is the best day ever." I stared up at the sky and let that sentence settle in my bones. Not the best day we've had since Mom left. Not the best day since everything fell apart. Just the best day. Period. That was enough. More than enough. I don't think I'll ever fully understand how Claire lived with herself. I don't think I want to. But I do know this. Truth is like gravity. You can float on lies for a while, but eventually, you come crashing down. She fell. We didn't. We landed.